Hello friends, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. Another month is in the books, so here's everything I picked up on Blu-ray and 4K Ultra HD for June 2022. If you're new to the channel, please hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell notification. You can also find me over Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd at Movie Guy 365. Okay, another month has come and gone, and it's time to go over everything I picked up on Blu-ray and 4K for June 2022. When it came to new releases, there was a healthy bit that came out on both Blu-ray and 4K that I picked up, and I also took an opportunity to pick up some titles that have been on my wish list for a while. Now, of course, we're at that point as a 4K collector. You're wondering if a Blu-ray that is on your wish list is going to be made into a 4K. A lot of times that seems to happen, especially nowadays. So when I go for my pickups in that catalog title area, I try to limit myself to $8 or $9, $10 at the most. That way, if a 4K does come down the line, it doesn't sting nearly as much. So, you know, of course, there's also the educated guess. Do you think this is going to be made into a 4K? I don't know, but it's really just what we have to deal with as collectors. But there were a lot of titles I picked up this month, and of course, of the first couple weeks of July or any indication, it's going to be a heavy month in July also. So let's not waste any time. My new Blu-ray pickups this month. This one was from director Paul Verhoeven, and that is Benedetta. I didn't know anything going into this one, and I watched it, and I really enjoyed it. It's a drama, it's a period drama. And I really, I enjoyed the visuals, of course. This is, right up my alley as far as storytelling goes. But I was a little disappointed we didn't get the 4K edition that's going to be released internationally. I may import that. I have an order in at Amazon UK. I may do that. I'm still undecided, but I think I ultimately will because I do want the best possible picture. But I do recommend you pick this one up. It is released on Blu-ray here in the States, and you should check it out. This one was another title that's sitting on my wish list for a while, once again, under $10 rule, and that is Chocolate, starring Johnny Depp and Julie Binoche. I really like this one. It's been a number of years since I've seen it, and I'm anxious to revisit it. I just got the itch to watch it again, and I'll be revisiting this one very soon. So yeah, check that one out. This was one that's been on my I would say wish list forever. I've never owned a physical copy of it, and I'm kicking myself because every time I watch it, I'm like, this is so good. And I've been on a Coen Brothers kick for a while now. For the last month or so, I've just been watching it on my personal off time. Barton Fink, fantastic. I mean, Coen Brothers are just amazing filmmakers. And it's funny because they have their own signature, but they're not really adhering to any particular genre or style. I mean, there are some great crime dramas that they have, but some just really compelling dramas and some comedies. And this is one I feel gets really overlooked. It is fantastic. So yeah, Barton Fink from Kino Lorber. Absolutely check that one out for yourself. This is another edition from Kino Lorber. It has been a number of years since I've seen it, but I wanted to own it, and I think it just recently came out. Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid, starring Steve Martin. I like this one, and I'm going to be watching this probably in the next week or so, but because it's been about 10 years maybe or so that I've watched it. But I'm glad Kino Lorber has a Blu-ray edition, and it has a slipcover, which I'm always happy about. So yeah, Dead Men Don't Wear Plaid. Yeah, watch this one. It's fun. It's fun. It's Steve Martin doing some good Steve Martin stuff. Also, I recently renewed my, I stopped my Disney Movie Club membership, and then I renewed using the free shipping code. So I now have free shipping for life because honestly, there are some great sales from the Disney Movie Club, but the shipping is what kills you. And of course, there was a free shipping code out there, so I used it. I just have to, do my commitment status again. But my first movies that I picked up, this one was one of those, and that is Knobs and Broomsticks. This one was a staple of my childhood because, I often kind of self-compare it to Mary Poppins. And while Mary Poppins was a fantastic movie, I own it, and it's great. This one, I feel, is kind of like a companion piece to that. You could really just put them together. Of course, it's got, one of the same actors in it. But yeah, this one is good. I just check this one out. It's a mix of live action and animation, fantasy. It's really great. Angela Lansbury is awesome in it. So yeah, Knobs and Broomsticks. This next one I picked up knowing full well that a 4K edition is almost certainly guaranteed, but I got it for a cheap price, and I've been wanting to rewatch this one for quite a bit, flaws and all, and that is Troy, starring Brad Pitt and an all-star cast. I like this one. It's really entertaining, and you know, for those that are not, you know, really into streaming as much, I think that, you know, having a physical copy of a movie you enjoy, you know, whether a Blu Ray or 4K is on the horizon or not, is very important. So I'll be watching this one again, and just probably as soon as the credits roll, they'll announce a 4K. So Troy on Blu Ray. This next pickup was a direct result of watching Top Gun Maverick. The director, this one I've had on my wish list for a while. I haven't watched it yet, so I can't really comment on it, but I thought I'd blind buy it. Got it for a cheap price. Only the Brave. I hear it's actually really good. It does have a good cast attached to it. And once again, the director of Top Gun Maverick, who also did Oblivion with Tom Cruise, you know, and really, I think is kind of underrated. He does a lot of great work, of course. So yeah, Only the Brave. I'm anxious to watch this one very, very soon. This is another one that's been on my wish list for a while. Got it as part of a sale. There was the buy two, get one free sale. So, career opportunity, starring Jennifer Connelly. Good comedy, and of course, beautiful Jennifer Connelly in this one. You can't go wrong. Absolutely worth the pickup, in my opinion. This one, I'm not so sure. This was a blind buy. I've heard it's not great, but I do like, you know, comedies of this caliber. Your Highness. Yeah, I'm not expecting too much, but I got it as part of the sale, so I'll be checking this one out really, really soon, and I'll maybe do a write-up over on Letterboxd, so look for that over there. This is another title that's been on my wish list for a while. I don't know, it's just reasons or another. You know, we all have our wish list. It just hasn't gotten to. And I owned this previously. That's the thing. I owned this previously, and many years ago, I had to sell part of my collection, and I'm actually still rebuilding that. It's as funny as that sounds, but title by title, the Muppet Movie, just classic. It is absolutely classic. It still holds up really today. And I am a fan of the Muppets. Well, classic Muppets. Nowadays, not so much. But this is something that it's like a warm blanket, and it is really a great movie. And I would love to get the other films on Blu-ray as they become available. I think the Muppets Take Manhattan was on Blu-ray, but it's out of print. And the Great Muppet Caper, I don't think was ever on Blu-ray. But maybe one day we'll see it eventually. But until then, the Muppet Movie is in my collection once again. This is another one guaranteed to get a 4K. It is gonna happen, but you get the itch. Price is right, sure. Battle Los Angeles. It's a very interesting take on, you know, the alien invasion type movies, and it's one that I could definitely see getting a 4K. Once again, I think I even got this for like $6, $5, so it's not a big loss if the 4K upgrade comes down the line. So I'll be checking this one out again very soon. Once again, the Target buy two get one free sale has another victim, and this is Contact. I have been waiting for a 4K upgrade forever, and I always said that, you know, this year would be a perfect year. I believe it is the 25th anniversary of the film. And no sign. There's like no whisper this is going to happen this year. And this is one of my favorite Robert Zemeckis movies. Once again, this is a movie that I had to sell a long time ago, and just I think it was like right around that time 4K was a thing. So I'm like, I'm going to hold out for a 4K, hold out, and just I think it's going to happen eventually. It's a shame they didn't take this particular year to have that as an anniversary, but I will be rewatching this one very soon, and I highly recommend you check it out if you've never seen Contact. This is another, with the recent release of Obi-Wan on Disney Plus, Hayden Christensen returning to the role as Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. I wanted to pick this one up. I used to have the 3D Blu-ray of this, and then, you know, story having to sell it again, but I thought I would just pick up the Blu-ray this time. Jumper. It's funny because it's a flawed movie, but I think there was so much potential here, and it's still very enjoyable. It's got a nice sci-fi kick to it, And who hasn't wanted to have these powers? It's just a good, fun adventure, and seeing Christensen in something besides Star Wars is always welcome. So Jumper on Blu-ray now. This is a complete blind buy. I had a friend of mine recommend. I have not seen it. I can't say whether it's great or not, but I love good epics. And he was like very adamant that I would enjoy this. It's 2 movies in one collection. I know they sell them separately, but Red Cliff Part 1 and 2. I am really anxious to watch this. It's going to happen very, very soon, but I'll probably do a write-up over on Letterboxd. Let me know if you've seen it and what did you think of these films. I cannot wait to check it out. I am a big fan of some of the actors in this one, so yeah, I'm very interested in watching this one shortly. This was a Dennis Hopper film. The Hot Spots, once again, just a good director, and Jennifer Connelly, again, she's getting a lot of attention in my collection these days. But yeah, what can I say? It's a Hopper film. It's a great, movie. Just, I feel it's also very underrated. So I will be watching this one again very shortly, probably do a write-up. But The Hot Spots, one of the lesser known movies out there, but if you're a fan of Hopper or Connelly, yeah, watch The Hot Spots. This is another, I keep hoping for a 4K upgrade, but I really want to rewatch this because Michael Keaton is amazing, legendary. And I've never owned a Blu-ray copy of this. It's funny because I was looking back, I'm like, how did I never own a Blu-ray of Birdman? This movie is just something else. It has a great audio, and it's such a visually interesting film, and the subject matter is also equally compelling. So, Birdman, if you're a Michael Keaton fan and you haven't watched it, do yourself a favor, watch Birdman. I highly recommend you check it out. This was another release as a blind buy. Somebody recommended it to me, and I am a Chris Hemsworth fan. I like a good war, movie or military film. 12 Strong, I've heard good things about it, so I'll be watching this very shortly. But yeah, I don't really have too much to say. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but blind buy, there it is, 12 Strong. I mentioned a little while ago about rejoining the Disney Movie Club, and these are my first 5 titles. If you get 5 for $1 or something like that, and then you have to buy 3 movies at regular price over the next 2 years. So my first 5 titles were all Disney Movie Club exclusives that I've had on my wish list for a while from the old accounts. So I just use these as part of the enrollment. Something Wicked This Way Comes. It's a moody, atmospheric Disney film, live action. I don't think it's enough recognition. It's really, look, it's not high cinema or anything, but I still think it's really worth watching, and I'm glad to have a physical copy of this one on Blu-ray. Equally, The Watcher in the Woods, also same kind of vein. Really just one of those films that doesn't get talked nearly enough about, but there it is on Blu-ray. This was Disney's low-key horror film. I mean, seriously, if you watched it, Return to Oz, starring Fairuza Balk. This movie's kind of scary, ultimately. No, I mean, it's really just, it is kind of terrifying, to be honest with you. There are some weird visuals. It's more or less a sequel off of course, The Wizard of Oz, but it's so dark, and like there's electroshock going on with Dorothy. I mean, it's really just one of those movies that's, if this was made today, I would be shocked if this was not given an R rating, to be honest with you. Of course, it has some goofiness to it, but Return to Oz, physical copy, you can't beat it. This is another one that I don't think gets really a lot of attention in Disney's library, but it's a good sci-fi film. It has some problems with it. The Black Hole, I still think visually it looks great, and there is some fun moments in it. And the movie does take itself a little too seriously at times, but I still have a special place in my heart for it. And Black Hole, Disney Movie Club exclusive. This is another one that I believe it is 4K digitally and also on Disney Plus streaming service, but a Blu-ray copy, of course. Physical collector, always want the physical copy. The Black Cauldron, one of Disney's, a lot of people will call it one of Disney's missteps, but I really, there's definitely some greatness here, and I think it got chopped up on the editing room table. but I still think there's a lot to enjoy, and the visuals are pretty good, and it is a dark film. So The Black Cauldron on Blu-ray, and this was a childhood favorite of mine. I remember, it's funny because there's certain movies I remember where I saw it, when I saw it. This is one of them. I was living in California at the time. My parents went to Pittsburgh to visit some friends and relatives, and this was the movie I saw in the theater in Pittsburgh. So The Flight of the Navigator, awesome. I know this was released internationally a number of years ago, and it just made its way to Blu-ray here in the States, I believe last year. But I really enjoyed this one. It's a good film. It's fun. Brings me back to my childhood, and maybe one day we'll get a 4K, maybe. You know, Disney being, whatever. But, you know, Flight of the Navigator on Blu-ray, very happy to have a copy of this in my collection. It's funny, when I was gathering all my stuff together for this video, and I got to the 4Ks, I'm like, I thought I got more 4Ks than this in May. All these, I believe, are new releases, but I still feel like I got more, but apparently not. It's still really a good haul, though, but it's worth talking about. The Northmen, director Robert Eggers, great 4K disc. And I know this movie's very divisive. Either it's like a love it or hate it kind of thing. I guess I fall into the love it. Yeah, it's not without its, you know, problems. I think as a fan of the director, and it was missing some of that indie style. It felt like it was a little bit more mainstream, but wrapped up in Robert Eggers' film. But I really like it, and it's a great 4K disc, so check that one out. This was one of the, Sony's been recently releasing movies on 4K with Dolby Vision grading. This is one of them. Bridge on the River Kwai. I did a full review if you want to hear my thoughts over on this channel. Ultimately, do I think it's worth the upgrade for the Dolby Vision? A case can be made either for or against. I think ultimately it's going to be up to you. I don't think it's a drastic upgrade, but it's still, if you've never owned it, definitely go for it. But the movie is epic. It's a long one, but it doesn't feel like it. It really just kind of flies by, and it is a good looking 4K disc. So yeah, Bridge on the River Kwai and Steelbook, check it out. This one was in the recent video I did of the best 4K discs of 2022 so far. Michael Bay's Ambulance. I am very partial to movies that take place in Los Angeles as a setting and as like kind of like a highlight of the film. So for me, Ambulance already got a positive vibe for me right from the offset. It's a Michael Bay film. It is. It's not going to be anything really deep, but there's some wonderful action, and the 4K is absolutely demo worthy. Check this one. You absolutely have to watch this one on your home theater, full blast. This was an import, and I highly recommend, if you are a fan of the film, spend the extra couple dollars, import it. This is the standard edition. They also did a limited deluxe edition. That is Drive, starring Ryan Gosling. Love this film. The 4K disc is gorgeous. It also has a great Dolby Atmos. So this is an upgrade. No doubt about it. Do I think they're going to come out with a domestic release? Probably, maybe within the next year or two, but why wait? It's a good looking cover. It doesn't really cost more than you would buy a regular Blu-ray here, maybe like $5 or $10 more. But if you're a fan of it, check out Drive. I did a full review if you want to hear my thoughts. This next title was a Warner Brothers mod release and stars Rock Hudson, Elizabeth Taylor, and James Dean, and that is Giant. It's a epic style drama. It really is. It's not as epic in scope as, let's say, Lawrence of Arabia, but it's essentially a very compelling story. It does run a little bit long, so you're gonna, if you're more impatient with those type of films, it may not be for you, but I think it works, on a lot of levels. The 4K disc is a bit of a mixed bag just due to the sources used. When the movie uses the best possible quality, it is fantastic looking. But when it uses some of those lesser elements, it's going to dip and you're going to notice. And unfortunately, it's about almost 50% of that. It's a little bit inconsistent, which is unfortunate. Once again, just due to preservation or sources used. But I think a 4K disc ultimately is worth the upgrade. So Giant on 4K. This is one that I never thought would even get a Blu-ray, let alone a 4K. And watching this just took me right back to my kid. Like, I was a kid again. I was a kid. That is Cloak and Dagger, released by Vinegar Syndrome. Right now, there's only the deluxe edition available over on their website. I imagine the standard is going to come eventually. Wow. What can I say? It's a thriller, but it's funny because movies today with kids and like kind of like a spy thing going on, they're played more or less towards the kids. Like, you really get a film that you never feel like the kids are in any danger. Like, it's very safe. You know, the bad guys are tripping over their feet or, you know, bumbling. But in this one, you feel like they legit could get killed. I mean, there's some dark kind of stuff going on in this. But, oh wow. I mean, once again, they don't make movies like that anymore. But I am very happy that a 4K edition of this film exists. I think the transfer is excellent. It looks great. And I am happy, you know, company like really smaller labels like Vinegar Syndrome have movies like this to release, because we would never see this released by Paramount or Universal or Warner Brothers. Never. So yeah, Cloak and Dagger, check it out. I mean, I recommend it as a movie, and I also recommend it as a 4K. So watch that one. This was one of the big releases, quote unquote, of the month. Morbius from Sony. Look, ultimately, the movie is not as completely god-awful as the internet would have you to believe. Does it have problems? Yes. Does it have like a weird editing? This was tampered with, no doubt. But it's still entertaining, and I think ultimately it's not something I'll go back to very often, but it's not as horrible as everybody thinks it is. It really isn't. But it's just not as good as everybody would say. I don't know. It's Morbius on 4K. I did a review. Check it out. This was one of my favorite films. It's still one of my favorite films. I was very happy that Kino Lorber was getting a 4K release of this. Out of Sight from director Steven Soderbergh, starring George Clooney and Jennifer Lopez. Great movie. Great movie. It is one of my favorites. It's definitely in my top 10 or 15 of all time. Something about this just works, whether it's the story from Elmore Leonard, or the direction, or the acting, or the chemistry, or the set. I mean, there's so many things, like a perfect storm for me personally, that work with this film. And I think Kino did a wonderful job. The transfer is excellent, and I did a review, so check that one out. This was one that got a lot of talk of, you know, whether it was like kind of like a really good film. And watching it was good. I feel like it fell into that overhyped territory a little bit. That is the unbearable weight of massive talent. I thought it was entertaining. It was fine. I would say the first half especially works better for me. But, you know, once again, it's Nicolas Cage. You can't go wrong. Pedro Pascal, also really great. But outside of those two characters, I don't really care about anybody else in the film. And it's unfortunate that it's written that way. I mean, yeah, Tiffany Haddish is in this for why? Like, honestly, like, she could have, I don't know, like, her role just felt like it was just left on the cutting room floor or something. Like, there was no development of her character. But, you know, it's still a fun movie. I just feel, me personally, it was a bit overhyped. But it's still really cool, and I like the 4K disc. I think it's really solid. And finally this month, the latest from the Wizarding World, the Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore. When it comes to these films, I'm not exactly loving the story. I've said this in my 4K review. I think that the story is a mix of two ideas that came together and they don't quite mesh. You have the whole Newt Fantastic Beasts element, and then you have stuff that's happening with Grindelwald and Dumbledore. And it's like a weird kind of mixture. That being said, I think that weird mixture works better in this film than the last two. But it's, I don't know, I prefer the Harry Potter movies. I'm more of a Harry Potter, you know, fan in that era. But for me, I don't know, it's just not ultimately working for me. I don't know, they need to do something a little bit different to catch my attention. But, you know, fans of the film, Steelbook, regular edition are out there, so check it out. So that is everything I picked up on Blu Ray and 4K for June 2022. Now it's your turn. In the comments, let me know what you picked up for this month and what are you looking forward to in the next couple of months. There is some great stuff coming, and I cannot wait to just check all these titles out. And hey, if you're interested in any of these titles, I will leave an Amazon link in the comments section. If you use it, it really helps out the channel. So until next time, this is Adam with Movie Guy 365. I will see you at the movies.